Goody, 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 goody. Hello, everyone. This is Dayhawk and bringing to you episode 43 of Shaman King 01. This episode, we're gonna walk through memory lane just a bit. Why? Because there are some things in this episode has already happened in the reboot, only with different settings and different motivations. Now, this episode begins with Team Niles giving their brief introduction in the beginning, and then it leads to what looks like to be outside of the X-Law's headquarters. And you see each and every member of the X-Laws looking at the sky, and I believe it has to be the whole Gate of Babylon situation, because they're looking at the sky, and weirdly enough, you could see the clouds forming, going around and around in circles, almost like it's a portal to something. And you have Marco and the Iron Maiden, John, talking. And Marco is begging her not to approach Yo, especially alone. But John told Marco that to stay back. I'm gonna do this because regardless if Yo has even an ounce of evil, by talking to him, she's gonna turn Yo to the light. And yeah, I John and her holier than thou. She believes that she has been touched by God. Yeah. Then after she gave her brief speech, the X-Laws are applauding her and awing like she's gonna approach this boy who they believe is deemed evil because not only he's related to Hal, but he's been touched by Hal's dark magic, whatever. But John is like, I'm gonna convince him to join us. And then Marco tells Lyserg that you and I and Lady Jan are gonna go together and we're gonna talk to Yo once again. And then it leads to the scene where the Yo-Yos entered in this western town, and they're amazed that the town has a bunch of people. And then next thing you know, Anna tries to get a keychain less in price, like she's gonna bargain, and the seller is telling her like, I can't lower the price for you because the keychain is made of pure steel. And then you have Manta and Yo telling her that no, you can't you can't, it's made of real silver and all that stuff. And leads to the next scene where Ren notices that these people have oracle bells. So all these people in this town are shamans. So they go to the restaurant, and guess who the Yo-Yos meet? Pino from Teen Icemen. And they have a brief talk and saying that all these people are what remains of the whole tournament. Uh, they are considered to be the most strong, or the god class, whatever. And Pino said something to piss off Ren, and he just gets up from the table and walks away. And you see him talking outside, saying that he's determined to defeat Yo and become Shaman King. And then here comes Hao. And this is one of those scenes where I said in the very beginning that we're gonna go on a memory tour, because this already happened in the reboot not too long ago, where Hal appears and he offers Ren membership to his group, that he will offer him more powers than his old home, perhaps even greater. And only this time, it's not in the island. It's in the town. Ren tries to attack Hal, but luckily Manta was there to hold him back. You have Hal ask, you're still here? I wonder why Yo still keeps you around. Oh man, Hal doesn't understand that Manta is Yo's friend, his first friend ever. And that's something Hal would never understand because he hates humans. If he were a shaman, I think he might let it go. But since he's a human with no shaman powers, I mean... But Hal is determined to make him his. And luckily you have Horo Horo and Choco Love running from behind, and Hal disappears. Then next thing you know, Choco Love is encased in water thanks to Zarya. I think I mispronounced her name. Ziria. And both Ziria and Tona, two members of the Icemen, they deem those four boys to be part of Hal's group. That's why they started to make a fuss. And as Tona was about to attack Choco Love, luckily Horo came in defense position. And then luckily Ren's sister and Pylon comes into the picture, and then Pino appears, like, forgive us, this is just an honest mistake. So they had a ceasefire. Choco Love has been released, and of course he comes up with a stale joke and he gets punched. And then there was commotion in the restaurant, and next thing you know, you see Team Boz all tied up, and guess who pops up next? Team Nile. And here is the motive for Team Nile in this version. They tied up the Boz because they're members of Hao's team. But later on, Boz tells Yo and Anna that we're no longer part of Hao, we want to go to a different path, that sort of thing. But for right now, they're tied up thanks to Team Niles, and they're trying to use them as bait to lure out Hao. And the thing is, does Hao really cares about Boz or any other person in his group. You know, maybe the little boy, but other than that, nobody else. And so, as all these people are gathering around, looking at what is going on, then next thing you know, here comes John, Lyserk, and Marco just wheeling in and just ignoring Team Niles like nobodies. And Marco, the three people of Team X Laws, oh my god, I can't stop laughing because they just disregarded Team Nile like they were nothing. And Marco is telling Gil and the others that Our Lady wants to speak with you. And of course, Yo is like, I know what this is. No, thank you. I mean, I wouldn't blame Yo, because come on. After everything up to this point, why would he join you guys after how many people that you killed? Plus that one time you almost killed him while Amidamaro was preparing himself to become the Spirit of Sword? I mean, why should he? Why? Oh Lord, but I like his reaction. He's like, no, with his hand all waving in his face like this, like no, thank you. I'm not interested in listening to this iron statue thing. And Lyserk is like, yo, please. His reaction was like, no, you have to listen. And then but Team Nile came in and they felt insulted, of course, but also they believe that they've been touched by God too, or they use God's name in vain, whatever. For whatever reason, they challenge the X Laws. So again, just like in a reboot, only in that time they were in the tournament. Here, this is just the Wild West. And you could imagine already that the result ends the same. We all know what happens to them, unfortunately. But I will continue on, because there are various differences in this version and the reboot. And I want to say this. I enjoy this version than the other one, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. So, they're outside the town, and it's 3-on-3 with a huge crowd as the audience. And Lyserk comes in, and he beats up 2 of Team Niles, destroys their mediums right there and then, and he ends up tying the leader up. The same thing that happened in the reboot. It's the same thing. Only this time, you have Hal watching as well from afar. And the leader gets, with his own sheer force of will, gets released. And he unleashes his Aura Soul, the Wings of Death, if you could remember. And you have Lyserk determined to kill the poor man, which we all know what happens there. And here's the part that I said that the reason why I enjoy this episode the most. In this version, Yo tries to interfere. Yo tries to stop this match because what he is seeing, that Lyserk will do the unthinkable. And he even says too that there's no justice in killing. And he is running towards him to make him stop. And that's something I wish he would have done in the reboot, but he just stood there. Manta was about to do that for him, but Yo stopped him. But in this version, Yo was about to jump in and stop it because, like he said, there is no justice in killing. Also, I believe that killing somebody will change them for the worse. It just changes a person, and if he managed to kill the leader of Team Nile, I don't think he could handle the repercussions of it. You know what I'm saying, guys? I don't think he's gonna handle it. And I don't think that Lysak is a born killer. And so he tries to stop it, but Pino stops him that you cannot interfere in the shaman match, unfortunately. But then all of a sudden you see Lysak on the floor, and the leader is shocked that he nearly got killed because you can see the crystal almost touching his middle of his head. And you see Morphine looking back at Lysak, and the whole thing happened. Please let me attack. Like it was Morphine that stopped the attack, not him. Then next thing you know, the whole thing what happened in the reboot happened here. Marco throws the Iron Maiden at Lysak. At least in this version, it wasn't in front of so many people sitting in the arena. It was like a small, medium crowd there, but still being humiliated like that. It's just, but like I said in the beginning, Lysak in this version is so annoying, party pooper. During his travels with Yo up to the Boris episode, and I felt sorry for his 2021 version, because at least in that version he was less annoying, less of a brat. But in this version, I can't help but you got what you deserve, man. And so so yeah, he's being punished right now, and then John took over. It's gonna pass judgment, and you see her all wrapped in thorns, compared to, unlike in the reboot where she's instead of thorns, she is, the maiden is covered in steel iron spikes, which is like, I'd rather be covered with thorns than being punctured by iron spikes. And I think it's due to her Firoku, her mana is keeping her alive. But you still see her a bit bloody compared to, a little bit, but not as the reboot where she's kind of almost like Carrie. And so we get a brief origin story of John, and we all know why. We all know this, so I'm not gonna go over it. And the leader tries to attack Lady John, but then he gets caught by her guardian ghost, and his teammates tries to attack her, and also telling her that we're not evil. They're not evil, but unfortunately, they get caught too, and all three of them gets killed by Lady John. And you see poor Yo screaming, but it was over. Team Nile is dead. And you could see the disappointed face of Yo as three members of the X-Laws just walks away. And it's sad. It's really sad. At least in this version, you feel even more sadness, because I'm not saying that the what happened to them in the reboot wasn't sad. It was still considered sad, but in this version, those two people in Team Nile were yelling at Lady John that what sin have we committed? We're not evil, but yet she judged them. She judged them, as evil. Which it goes back to the argument, like, what have they done? They're not even members of Howl. If anything, they were trying to lure him out. Even if they have succeeded, they still be killed. They still be killed by Howl. So it wouldn't matter if Howl would have shown up or not. Yeah, it's kind of sad. And then in the final scene with Marco, John, and Lyserg, Marco continues to beat him up. Only this time, Marco pointed out something that I don't think the reboot ever pointed out. Because in the reboot, we assumed there was morphine that stopped the attack and not Lyserg. But in this version, Marco beats him up and tells Lyserg that, do you seriously think I was blind? I saw the whole thing. It wasn't morphine that stopped the attack, it was you. And flashback, as he was almost about to kill the leader, Yo was screaming at Lyserg, and that's when he stopped the attack, not morphine. It was Yo's words that stopped him to do the unthinkable. And you later see in the scene towards the very end, you see Lyserg and the next and next to him, you see Yo screaming his name. And by God, that was a powerful scene in my opinion. And the episode ends there. And I don't think the reboot ever mentioned Lyserg stopping the attack on his own. Everything was morphing. And I find it to be like, why did I can understand why Lyserg wanted to put the blame on morphing, because if you remember, Lyserg was telling Morphine, why did you stop the attack? Please let me attack. And then later on it was discovered that it was him all along. So I think it's easier to blame a guardian ghost than himself, because at least Marco doesn't beat up a guardian ghost. But regardless if it was morphing or it was his doing, he's still gonna get beat up. So I mean, there's no way in or out for Lyserg at that point, to be honest. But I enjoyed the episode a lot, and especially that scene where Yo was trying to save his friend, But at least his words stopped the attack, but unfortunately they still got killed. And the X-Laws just gave him more of a reason not to join him after what happened with Team Niles at that. Yeah, I mean, they think they're holier than thou. They think they're good, but that doesn't give them the excuse to kill people who they deem to be evil. You know? They think that they're on the right side of God, but if they think they have if people have like an ounce of evil, they will force them to repent their sins and they could be saved, but if they don't, then they end up getting killed. So I don't know who is more evil. Is it still Hal? Or is it the X-Laws who are considered evil due to their actions? I don't know. But anyway, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you liked this video. Please give a like and please subscribe. And because it helps a lot, I'm just sort of getting the handle on this, but there's always room to improve. And I will see you all again in the next video, okay guys? Alright, I'll see you all on the other side of oblivion. Johnny!